You ever wonder why the knife in your back never comes from a stranger? Why it ain't some random guy off the street, but someone who sat at your table, laughed at your jokes, called you brother? That's the way it is, Chico. Strangers don't got access to you. They don't know where to stick the blade to make it hurt. Only someone close, someone who earned your trust, knows exactly where to cut. And they always cut deep. That's the game. Whether you like it or not. You rise up, you make a name, you start moving different, and suddenly the people who used to clap for you start sharpening their knives. See, the real problem ain't your enemies. The real problem is the ones pretending to be your friends. The snakes that slither right up next to you, whispering in your ear, playing the long game, waiting for the right moment. And by the time you see it, by the time you feel that blade sink in, it's too late. But it don't have to be like that. You gotta learn to spot them before they strike. You gotta know what a traitor looks like before they show their fangs. And trust me, Chico, they always show their fangs. The problem is most people are too blind to see. Too caught up in loyalty, in memories, in thinking that just because someone was there from the beginning, it means they deserve to be there till the end. But that's a lie. Not everybody with you is for you. And if you don't figure that out, you'll be another idiot bleeding out, wondering where you went wrong. You want to know how to spot a snake? Watch how they move when you start winning. That's the test right there. Anybody can be loyal when you got nothing, when you ain't a threat, when you're just another nobody trying to get by. But the second you start making moves, the second you start climbing that ladder, watch how they react. Watch their eyes. Watch their smile. Is it real, or does it crack around the edges? Do they celebrate with you, or do they get quiet? Do they start acting funny, making little comments, planting little seeds of doubt, trying to shake you up? That's your first warning. Because a real friend, someone who truly wants to see you win, they don't get uncomfortable when you rise. They rise with you. But a traitor don't want you above them. They want you beneath them, or not at all. And here's the thing, Chico. It ain't about the money. It ain't about power. Those are just excuses. People betray because of weakness. Because deep down, they don't got the stomach for the grind. They don't got the balls to take what they want. So they sit back, bitter, watching you do what they never could. And instead of learning, instead of stepping up, they start plotting. Because it's easier to stab you in the back than it is to put in the work. That's the truth nobody wants to admit. You want to protect yourself? You gotta cut them off before they get close enough to do damage. No second chances, no warnings. The first time you feel it in your gut, the first time you catch them moving sideways, you end it. Because if you don't, you're just giving them time to study. Time to find your weakness, time to pick the perfect moment to take you down. And when that moment comes, don't expect mercy. The traitor don't hesitate. The traitor don't feel guilt. They'll smile in your face and gut you in the same breath. And if you think that's an exaggeration, you ain't been in the real world long enough. Look around you. Who benefits if you fall? Who gains if you lose everything? That's where the danger is. Not in the strangers. Not in the enemies you already know about. It's in the ones who know your dreams, who know your fears, who've seen you at your weakest. The ones who told you they'd ride with you till the end. They're the ones you gotta watch, because they got everything they need to destroy you. And trust me, Chico, they will. And when they do, when you're on the ground bleeding, don't expect them to stick around. The second you're no longer useful, they're gone. Off to the next fool, the next opportunity. Because that's what they are, opportunists. They don't build, they don't create. They survive by leeching off stronger men. And the second they think they can take your spot, they will try. But you ain't gonna let that happen, are you? Number. Because you're smarter than that. You see the signs now, you understand the game. You ain't some naive little kid thinking loyalty means something to everybody. It don't. To some people, loyalty is just a word they use to keep you from seeing the knife behind their back. But you ain't gonna be their next victim. You're gonna be the one who walks away, the one who cuts first, the one who never lets them get close enough to do damage. And when they realize they can't touch you, when they see you keep winning, keep rising, keep taking everything they wanted but were too weak to go after, that's when the real pain hits them. Not your knife, not your revenge, just your success. Because nothing hurts a traitor more than watching the man they tried to destroy become untouchable. You think the ones closest to you ain't watching? You think they ain't keeping score? Every move you make, every step forward, they're counting. They're measuring what you got against what they got. And the second they feel like they're losing, that's when the poison starts dripping. First, it's little thing-side comments, backhanded compliments, small betrayals that don't seem like much. They test the water, see how much you let slide. And if you don't check it, if you don't put them in their place right then and there, they take that as a green light. They start thinking maybe, just maybe, they can replace you. And let me tell you something, Chico. A man who starts thinking like that, don't stop until he either takes you down or gets crushed under your boot. That's why you gotta be ruthless. You see the shift, you feel it in your gut, you don't wait for proof, you don't wait for the knife to sink in, you cut first. Because hesitation, that's the difference between being the one giving orders and the one getting buried. You ever notice how the ones who betray always act like you forced them to do it? Like somehow it's your fault? They'll say you changed, you got greedy, you forgot where you came from. That's the trick. They make you question yourself, make you feel guilty for outgrowing them. But let me tell you something, kid. Growth ain't a crime. Becoming more than what you were supposed to be, that ain't something to apologize for. Weak people hate to see others rise. It reminds them of what they could have been if they had the balls to put in the work. But they didn't. They sat back. They waited. And when they saw you passing them, they had two choices: step up or drag you down. And weak men, they always choose the second option. They'll talk behind your back first, whisper in corners, plant doubt in the minds of others. They'll start acting like victims, making themselves look like the wounded ones, while you, the one actually building something, become the villain in their story. And if you let it go on long enough, if you ignore the warning signs, one day you'll wake up and realize you're surrounded by people who don't really want to see you win. People who smile when you're looking, but celebrate every stumble behind your back. And when the time is right, when you're most vulnerable, they'll strike. And here's the part that really burns, Chico. It won't be one big betrayal. No, it'll be 1,000 little cuts. Every missed call, every fake smile, every conversation they had about you when they thought you wouldn't find out. Every time they let an outsider talk down on your name and didn't defend you. That's how it happened. It builds slow, piece by piece, and then one day, the whole damn house comes crashing down on top of you. That's why you gotta stay ahead of them. You gotta be 10 steps in front of the game. You watch their eyes. You listen between the words. You pick up on the little changes in their voice, the hesitation in their loyalty. And when you see it, you don't make excuses. You don't give them another chance. A snake don't stop being a snake just because you gave it a second warning. It just waits for a better moment to strike. You ever notice how the moment you cut someone off, suddenly they got so much to say? They ain't got the guts to say it to your face, but the second you take away access, they start running their mouth. That's how you know you made the right call. A real one don't change just because they lost a seat at your table. They move on. They do their own thing. But a traitor can't let it go. They gotta justify it. They gotta twist the story so they don't look like the weak one. They start telling everybody how you did them wrong, how you weren't who they thought you were. But deep down, Chico, they know the truth. They know you saw them for what they really were. And that scares them more than anything. Because once a snake is exposed, it don't got anywhere left to hide. It spends the rest of its miserable life trying to find a new rock to slither under, but it don't change what it is. That's why you don't give them a second thought. You don't waste your breath trying to correct their lies, trying to prove yourself. That's what they want. They want you distracted, want you so busy defending yourself that you stop moving forward. But you keep winning, you keep building. And every move you make, every success, every level you reach that they can't touch, that's the real revenge. Because here's the truth, Chico. A traitor's worst nightmare ain't getting caught. It ain't even getting cut off. Their worst nightmare is realizing they were never necessary. That you were always gonna win with or without them, that's what eats them alive. And when they see you thriving, when they see that their betrayal didn't break you, that's when they start drowning in their own regret. But by then it's too damn late. Because you ain't looking back. You ain't giving them a way back in. They made their choice. And you made yours. So let them talk. Let them plot. Let them convince themselves they played you. In the end, they're the ones who lost everything. Not you. Not the one who kept moving. Not the one who never needed them to begin with. Because that's the difference between winners and snakes, Chico. Winners make it to the top no matter who tries to drag them down. Snakes? They just spend their whole life crawling, waiting for a chance that never comes. You ever notice how when you cut someone off, they act like they never needed you? Like they had it all figured out, like they weren't just eating off your plate a week ago? That's the act, Chico. That's the show they put on for everybody else. Because if they admitted the truth, if they looked in the mirror and really saw what they lost, they wouldn't be able to live with it. So they rewrite the story. They tell themselves you were the problem, that they never really cared, that you ain't as smart as you think you are. But you know the truth. And deep down, so do they. Because the real pain, the real suffering, it don't come from you cutting them off. It comes later. It comes in the quiet. When they're lying in bed, staring at the ceiling, thinking about how they let the best thing that ever happened to them slip right through their fingers. It comes when they realize that they played themselves, that they traded loyalty for a quick win, for a short-term move that left them with nothing. And you don't gotta do nothing. You don't gotta argue. You don't gotta fight. You don't gotta prove a damn thing. All you gotta do is keep going. Because every step you take forward, every success you stack, that's the reminder, that's the lesson. That's the slow, rotting sickness that eats at them for the rest of their miserable lives. You ever see a man choke on his own regrets? It's a slow thing. At first, they pretend they don't care. They act tough. They act like they never needed you, like they were better off. But time don't lie. Time peels away the mask. And one day they wake up and they realize they got nothing. No power, no respect, no seat at your table. And that's when it hits them. That's when the weight of what they did comes crashing down. But by then, it's too late. You ain't looking back. You ain't giving second chances. Cause see, Chico, when a snake shows you what it is, you don't keep it around hoping it'll change. You cut its damn head off. You move forward. And you don't lose sleep over it. Because losing someone who never really had your back, that ain't a loss. That's a damn blessing. And that's the part they don't understand. They think they hurt you. They think they took something from you. But what they really did, they made you strong. They showed you who you don't need. And when you don't need someone, when you stop giving a damn, that's when you become untouchable. See, people who betray you, they expect a reaction, they expect anger, They expect you to come crawling back to ask why, to demand an explanation. But you don't give them that satisfaction. You don't give them nothing. No words, no emotion, just silence. And that drives them crazy. Because when someone don't react, when they don't chase, when they don't beg, it means they don't care. And nothing kills a snake more than realizing they were never as important as they thought they were. So let them run their mouths. Let them spread their little lies. Let them build their stories, twisting reality to make themselves feel better. None of it changes them. Because when it comes down to it, when the dust settles, the truth is simply you won and they lost. And it wasn't because you played dirty. It wasn't because you betrayed them first. It wasn't even because you wanted to win. No, Chico, you won because you kept moving. Because you refused to let their weakness become your weakness. Because you understood something they never could. Real power don't come from what you take. It comes from what you build. And that's why they'll never be you. That's why they'll spend the rest of their lives looking up at the throne you sit on, wondering why it ain't them, why they never got there. But deep down they know. They know they didn't have the stomach for it. They know they didn't have the discipline, the patience, the balls to keep pushing forward when things got tough. So instead, they took the coward's way out. They tried to take what wasn't theirs. But here's the thing about thieves, Chico. They never hold on to what they steal. They don't know how to. Because power ain't about what you grab. It's about what you can keep. And keeping power, that takes more than backstabbing. That takes more than plotting. That takes more than running your mouth. It takes strength. It takes vision. And most of all, it takes standing on your own 2 feet. And traitors, they can't do that. They never could. That's why they needed you in the first place. That's why they had to get close, why they had to ride your wave, because on their own they ain't nothing. And when they finally realize that, when they finally understand that they were never built for this life, that's when the regret eats them alive. But by then, Chico, you'll be long gone, sitting on top, looking down at the same people who thought they could take you out, watching them drown in the mess they made for themselves. And that's the best revenge. Not anger, not getting even, just success, just proving, without saying a word, that you never needed them, but they damn sure needed you. The funny spot, they'll still tell themselves it wasn't their fault. They'll sit there, broke, forgotten, nothing to their name. And they'll still be lying to themselves. Still be making excuses, blaming you, blaming the world, blaming anything but their own weakness. Because that's what snakes do. They never own up to nothing. They never look in the mirror and admit they were the problem. That's why they'll never be more than what they are, just another face in the crowd, just another nobody who thought they could play the game but never had what it took to win. You ever notice how the ones who betray you always try to come back? They always do. Might take months, might take years. But one day, when life kicks them in the teeth, when they realize they ain't got nothing, they'll come knocking. Might start small, a message here, a question there, acting like nothing happened. Or maybe they'll be bold, try to guilt trip you, talk about how things got out of hand, how they made mistakes. But you don't answer, you don't entertain it. Because that door closed the second they picked up that knife. And once a door is closed, it stays closed. That's the mistake most people make. They let the past call back in, they give second chances, they let the same snakes back in their circle, thinking maybe this time it'll be different, but it never is. A snake don't change, Chico. It just sheds its skin. It learns, adapts, gets better at hiding. The next time it won't make the same mistake. Next time, it'll strike cleaner, faster. You give them another shot, you don't get to act surprised when they put you in the dirt. That's why you don't look back, you don't wonder what could have been. You don't waste time thinking about whether they regret it, whether they miss you, whether they wish things turned out different. Because none of that matters. What matters is where you're going, not what you left behind. And what you left behind, that's dead weight. That's a lesson, nothing more. Something that sharpened you, something that made you smarter, stronger, more ruthless. That's how you gotta move. Like someone who's seen it all, like someone who don't waste time on ghosts. You cut them off, you erase them, you move in silence, you keep your circle tight, and you never let another traitor get close again. Because once you understand how the game works, once you see how weak men operate, you don't fall for it twice. You keep winning, you keep building, and you let them watch from the sidelines, drowning in their own regret. Because in the end, Chico, that's what they deserve. Nothing.